You know, Marianne Faithfull said to me this bombshell, which I wanted to share with you today, seemingly because, of course, when you think about great rock chicks, as it were there any bigger than Marianne Faithfull? You see, I was lucky enough to meet her on, well, a number of occasions, in fact. And apparently the reason why she liked having a chat with me, and I will dig out the picture in the interview at some point, is the fact that apparently she thought I dressed up for her. Yes, I was the only one, she said, that was gentlemanly enough to turn up in a suit and tie. Now, I liked her instantly. You know, she was one of these people that just was very easy to talk to. I think somebody who was very comfortable in their skin. She knew what she'd done, all that sort of thing, you know, and her backstory truly was amazing when you think. But you see, what she found was this, that everybody said that, you know, good girls wanted to be sort of Dusty, Scylla, all that sort of stuff, and bad girls wanted to be Marianne. And she said she really hated this tag because, in fact, Dusty, Scylla, Sandy and the rest were probably a little bit naughtier than her. But of course that didn't play very well in the press, did it? Let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you. We'll have a lovely wave. Thank you so much as ever for taking the time out to join me. Yes, this is a celebration on the life of, some might say, the ultimate 60s rock chick that was Marianne Faithfull. And really, it's funny, isn't it? You know, I don't mind telling you this, chums, but when Marianne came into the studio a few years back now, when I was based at Sky News in London, nobody seemed to know who she was. And this has happened a few times. You know, Petula Clark came in, wonderful person, as you know, good friend, and she ended up making teas because all the young kids just thought, well, who's this, you know, oh, she must be here for Neil. Nobody really questioned. I don't know if you're like that, but I would always question who that person is, you know, thinking, well, they must have done something because they look like they've lived a life. But no, Marianne sat in the reception for ages before somebody told me she was actually here. And so consequently there wasn't a studio ready, so we ended up doing the interview in the green room. All the while she's helping me move the potted plant and rearrange some of the lighting. And she said, this makes me look like death. I thought that makes two of us, Marianne, you know. But this is the thing that happens in the world of show business. She was there to help promote some kind of compilation album, something like that, you know. And it was a bit vague, really. And I'm not sure if anybody knew truly she was turning up. What happened was they said, there's somebody at the desk to see you. And it turned out that it was her. Can you imagine walking out and seeing Marianne Faithfull at the reception desk? What happened really was a wonderful chat. But the thing that really struck me about her was she was really sensible, down to earth, kind, very warm, and of course nothing like the image that we'd all known. I mean, obviously, you know, a little bit before my time, to say the least. I was aware of As Tears Go By, simply because it was an iconic 60s sort of track, wasn't it? Written by Jagger and Richards. And then the story that engulfed, of course, were they, I suppose you might put them in more modern times, of a bit like the Gallagher brothers, Oasis, Patsy Kensit, Liam Gallagher, that sort of stuff, you know, Rural Britannia, that sort of Britpop thing. But Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull were much more. Now, what was fascinating was when we were chatting, she said that one sort of, how shall we say, paramour that was keen to take the relationship further was none other than this man. That's right, Brian Epstein. And apparently she became friendly with him after being interviewed on a TV show, which he was hosting. And she said he was perfectly lovely, a real gentleman, she said, and one of those kind people that you instantly be feeling attraction to and warmth. She said, but she knew, of course, that Brian wasn't the marrying kind, but he suggested they may make a good union. Apparently she was some years younger than him, thought this was highly amusing, but rather than say the rivals, of course, Brian Epstein was the manager of the Beatles, and Marianne was definitely in the camp of the Rolling Stones. But apparently Mick Jagger and Keith Richards said, he's a lovely guy, you know, it's just kind of sweet that he's asked you, and moved it on from there. Sweet to know, isn't it, that behind all that fake rivalry, truly, these were just sort of like rock and roll headlines. Now, Marianne, as I said, what was fascinating was she had an incredible career when you think, because it lasted many, many years, the ups, the downs, the bad stuff, all that sort of things. And she said, look, she never thought she'd make it to a ripe old age simply because of what she'd done. She knew that she'd lived the high life. And as she said, if she'd done it all again, would she? Well, it was hard, she said, to put a sort of point on it as to whether she would have carried on down that route. She said that she had no plans to become famous. It was simply being at a party at the right place at the right time. She knew she wasn't the greatest singer, but she knew that she looked good on camera. She was beautiful, quite frankly, as a person, literally, even at that age. She still sort of emanated beauty. So for all those that want to write Marianne Faithfull off as simply the rock chick that was, of course, a girlfriend of Mick Jagger in the hedonistic days of the swinging 60s, truly, there was a lot more, and I truly think her legacy will live on. Now, as tears go by, let's all raise a cup of tea, coffee, or whatever you're drinking, chums, to the beautiful Marianne Faithfull. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.